In today's tabletop review and installation, we're going to be taking a look at a magazine release product that's designed specifically to make your AR-15 style rifle compliant with California's laws so that you do not have to register your rifle as an assault weapon. There are several products currently on the market that will convert your AR-15 rifle into a fixed magazine type of rifle that requires disassembly of the action to load the rifle or remove the magazine. So this is one of those type of products. It's made by a company called Torque Precision. They're also out of California, Newbury Park to be specific. This product runs for $36. What you see basically here is what I received. We've got the FC hook. We have another baggie with some removal tools and a little card, this card, and a sticker. So before we get into this, I want to read a little bit about the FC hook so you know what's going on. For background, I'm not located in California, so I don't have to deal with the restrictions that the Californians do, and I definitely feel for you. So if I get any of my California law comments incorrect, please excuse me. I've tried my best to educate myself on what's going on in California. So the FC hook, obviously made in the USA. There's a patent pending for it. It is a magazine catch device, and it contains a spring-loaded detent plunger, and that plunger is built into the magazine catch. It replaces the standard mil-spec magazine catch. It is, I've been told it works with the RADD Lock, the California bullet button, and any standard mil-spec magazine catch buttons. The FC hook is installed on your AR-15 in such a way that it cannot be readily removed. It permanently attaches a California-approved 10-round magazine into the magwell. The magazine cannot be removed by any means while the action is closed. The magazine also cannot be readily removed while the action is open. The performance of the FC hook converts your AR lower receiver into a fixed magazine semi-automatic centerfire rifle type for the purpose of augmenting your rifle or receiver only, so that it does not meet the criteria for categorization as an assault weapon as defined in section 30515. Obviously, for more detailed information about AB-1135 amendments to section 30515 and how the section defines assault weapons, you can Google that, or you can visit Torque Precision's website. They have a lot of information about this that you can readily review, so I'm not going to cover all of that. Torque Precision has also said that if you're using the FC hook with a RADD Lock or a bullet button, you will need to super glue the threads in order to prevent removal of the FC hook and magazine without disassembly of the action. Okay, so I have a lot more information about that, but I'm not going to cover a lot of that right here. All right, so for $36, we get this card here. Obviously, Torque Precision has other items for sale on their website where you can go and visit. They've got lower parts installation, components, magazines. So they have a variety of different things. So they don't only manufacture this FC hook. A link for Torque Precision will be on the website. Now, I have to assume that if you purchase one of these, you're going to get both of these baggies. That would be the logical assumption. This first baggie, we have the FC hook, and we have a installation instruction card, and we have a removal tool. This second baggie has 3 more tools in it, possibly maybe different thicknesses. I don't know, because I haven't installed this. We're going to install this for the first time here on video. This is listed as a replacement slim tool for use with FC hook. 1 flat dark earth and 2 white ones. $3.48. So your FC hook probably doesn't come with this. This is probably a separate item. So probably a good idea if you pick up the FC hook to pick up a replacement toolkit so you can have multiple tools. So what we're looking at here is probably what you're going to get for $36. Right off the bat, what do we have here? Well, this, you'll recognize this. Well, assuming my camera will focus on it, probably not. This is a standard magazine catch back plate right here. You've got the FC logo on it, and you'll also notice that there is a little spring-loaded pin right there, and you can tell I'm pushing down on it, and it's obviously drilled, very finely drilled, and a spring-loaded pin is mounted right there. So that's what makes this particular item unique for compliance with California AR15 laws. Okay, so right off the bat, what I've seen, this is a nice magazine release assembly, or magazine backing plate assembly. It's finished in matte black. Nothing jumps out at me. The spring assembly works as it should, just playing around with this. So no issues with the quality of the machining or the workmanship at this point with this item, just looking at it. The installation is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to read all of this. One caveat is, of course, you're going to be using a 10-round magazine in your AR-15 because anything over 10 rounds is not legal. I don't own any 10-round magazines because I don't have to, so for the purpose of the rest of this video, you'll be seeing me use 30-round magazines. If you're in California, do not use 30-round magazines. So what we're going to have to do first is you're going to take your AR-15 lower receiver, and it's probably best you disassemble the upper from the lower. You can see I've already got that done here, and we're going to remove our stock backing plate for our magazine button. You can reuse your existing magazine button and spring depending upon what type of AR you're working with, whether it's with a RADD button or a RADD lock or a bullet button. Those removal instructions I can't demonstrate because I don't own either of those, so I'm going to be removing this with showing you the way to remove it with a standard magazine release button. So let me clear the table a little bit and we'll get moving on with this. Okay, moving on to the installation. You can see the lower receiver I'm using here is a Sequence Precision lower receiver, and it does have an ambidextrous bolt release on it, and the bolt release is too large to actually clear this particular backing plate if I pull it out and try to unscrew it. So what I did off camera was I removed the magazine or the bolt release. If you're using a standard lower receiver with a standard bolt release, you should be able to pull this out far enough to clear the bolt release, and you should not have to remove it. But with this lower receiver, I do have to do a little bit extra work. So we're basically just going to unscrew our original backing plate, and we're going to go ahead and screw this in. And yeah, screw it in a little bit more. And and that's sufficient. With this particular button, you can actually see the backing plate shaft come through, and you can see the threads. So you don't want to screw it in too far, because then the shaft will be sticking out. I like to have it flush or just a little bit recessed, so when I put my finger on the button, I'm not feeling the shaft. That's sounds funny, but that's that's the best way I can explain it. So once you get it installed, you'll see that it's not going to fully seat because of that spring-loaded pin right there. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to depress this little pin, and the FC hook will drop into place. So as you can see right here, let's see if the camera wants to cooperate and focus. You can see when the FC hook is in place, you've got that little spring detent right there, and if we go to press on our magazine release, it won't move, because the pin with the spring detented pin right there is going to keep the magazine release from going in. So that's the premise behind the design, and that's the installation of it. The black finish on it matches the finish on the Seekins lower receiver nicely, so no issues there, no issues with the installation, pretty straightforward. So let's move on to the magazine testing phase and see how that goes. Okay, moving on, we're going to test fit a couple of magazines. I have a hex mag in flat dark earth, and I have a Magpul 30 round M3 magazine. Now, according to Torque Precision, the FC hook is not compatible with the 10 round Gen 3 PMag and the Fab Defense Ultimag 10 round. On their Torque Precision's website, they do show you how to modify the magazine so it will work with the FC hook. And I did take a look at that, and it does make sense. And what it basically comes down to, since the FC hook is initially designed for the ASC and the Magpul PMag Gen 2, and what they basically state is with the Gen 3 PMags, if you look on your Gen 3, if you have any Gen 3s, there's a ridge right here. And this supposedly is the problem. If we look at this hex mag, there's no ridge right above this cutout. Now, again, I'm using 30 round magazines, so this is not something that Torque Precision has specifically addressed. But I found that this hex mag 30 round magazine and this 30 round Magpul Gen 3 magazine both work with the FC hook, and this Magpul magazine has not been modified. The modification process, as I saw it on their website, has to do with like taking a Dremel with a bit and grinding a little bit of material right here off of this ridged surface so that the magazine will slide in and lock into place. But I did test this off camera, and it seems to work fine. So the problem might be unique to the 10 round Gen 3 magazine. I don't know. Since I don't have one, I can't test it. But anyway, let's go ahead and proceed into test fitting these magazines. So what we're going to do with our magazine is you're going to slide it in, and it's not going to go in because the magazine button, you cannot press down on that. So what you would do is you would take your tool and you would press down on that spring-loaded metal tab. You would press down on it and then press down on your magazine release button so you can release the FC hook and slide your magazine into place until it clicks. And you can see this is locked into place, and the FC hook is doing its job. It will not allow me to remove this magazine. Now, the removal of the magazine, if you break the action open and you go to remove the magazine, you would use the included tool. And right here is a little opening on your lower receiver, which you may not be able to see. Let's see. Camera, cooperate. There's a little recess right there, and if you look down in there, you can see the actual metal spring-loaded detent. So it's really easy to get your tool down in there and press down on the spring-loaded detent. So if we push on the detent, we can press our magazine button and we can release our magazine. So pretty straightforward, and that works. So at least with this Gen 3 Magpul 30-round magazine, this does work with the FC hook. The Hex Mag, we'll do the same test with that, although, spoiler alert, I've already tested this and it does work. Locks into place. Cannot release the magazine. And we're good to go. So same thing here, little recess, stick our tool down there, press down on the detent, press down on the detent, then press a button. Push the magazine out, kind of hard to do this all and keep it in frame. And that's all there is to it. So this item works as advertised. I can definitely see the value in it. I think the price of $36 is reasonable considering the amount of machining that goes in to this magazine release backing plate. And I don't have any other comments about this. I would definitely suggest you visit torqueprecision.com, their website, and read over some of the information they have about California laws and how this applies to your particular situation. But everything I've seen with the product so far is top-notch. It's good machining, works exactly as it should. I find it easy to use if I had to use one of these, breaking open the action and using this tool to push down on the tab so I can eject the magazine to reload it. Of course, with the magazine in the lower receiver, you could reload the magazine with it in the lower receiver. It's not as convenient, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't. The only issue is for me would be to make sure that I had enough of these tools. I'd want to keep one of these tools with the rifle, preferably on the rifle. For example, this particular receiver's got a Magpul Mo on it, grip, and it has a storage compartment down here with the little locking plate. We could put the tool in there and pop the locking plate back in. And now we have the tool with our rifle at all times. So there is a hole on the end of it if you wanted to put a piece of string on it to tie it to something so you don't lose it. That's nice. Myself, if I had to use it, I would buy the extra set of tools. I'd keep one in the bag. I'd keep one in the grip. Or if you had a stock on your rifle that had battery storage compartment, you could probably put one in there instead of the grip if you were so inclined. And I'd just make sure I had a few extras on hand, so in case you lose one, you've got one readily available. So that's more or less going to wrap up this review of the Torque Precision FC hook, California compliant magazine release backing plate, available from torqueprecision.com, and their link will be in the description. So definitely visit their website. Take a look at this item if you're in the market for converting your rifle to make it California compliant. Also take a look at Torque Precision's other offerings, and Hopefully you find something that's usable.